Good afternoon, students. After a long time, we are having chemistry session. That's the reason before I get into the new chapter, that is metals and non-metals, I want to take a recapitulation of whatever we have learnt till now. So to start with, we'll start with the first chapter, that is chemical reactions and equations. What did we learn in chemical reactions and equations? We learnt the definition of chemical reaction based on chemical change, right? So we say that whenever there is a chemical change occurring, chemical reaction has taken place, isn't it? So whenever there is a chemical change, we can say that chemical reaction has taken place. Then we learnt how to determine whether a chemical reaction has taken place or not. So there were 5 determinants, that is change in state, change in color, change in temperature, evolution of gas, formation of precipitate. So these determinants, one or more of these determinants may occur when a chemical reaction takes place. Therefore, if you observe any of the following changes, then we can say that a chemical reaction has taken place. Then we learnt about the definition of chemical equation and the 2 ways of expressing a chemical equation, that is word equation and skeletal equation. Word equation is writing the equation in the form of word, and skeletal equation is nothing but writing the equation in the form of symbolic representation, that is formula of the compounds. In this, under chemical equation, we also learnt the necessary things to be kept in mind while writing a chemical equation. The steps to be followed while writing a chemical equation. Then balancing of chemical equation. We learnt why it is necessary to balance a chemical equation and the steps involved in balancing a chemical equation. Types of chemical reactions. We learnt about the types of chemical reactions, that is, there are 6 types of chemical reactions: combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, double displacement reaction, oxidation reaction and redox reaction. In combination reaction, 2 or more reactants combine to form a single product. But in decomposition reaction, it is the vice versa. That is, a single reactant decomposes into 2 or more products. Displacement reaction is a reaction wherein a more reactive element displaces the less reactive element from its salt solution. Whereas double displacement reaction is a exchange of ions. That is, in double displacement reaction, salts exchange their ions to form a new substance. So it can be represented as AB plus CD is equal to AD plus BC. Oxidation reaction. Oxidation reaction is a reaction in which oxygen is added or hydrogen is removed from one of the reactant. So products are excluded when we have to find out which is the substance which is getting oxidized. So it should be one of the reactant to which oxygen is added or one of the reactant from which hydrogen is removed. Reduction reactions are reactions in which hydrogen is added and oxygen is removed from the reactants. If either of it occur, then such reactions are called as reduction reactions. Sometimes in a chemical reaction, both the reduction and oxidation takes place simultaneously, and such reactions are called as redox reactions. After understanding the types of chemical reactions, we studied the effects of oxidation in everyday life. That is corrosion and rancidity. Corrosion is the effect of oxidation on metals. In other words, it is eating up of metals by atmospheric gases and moisture. Rancidity is another oxidation process wherein food gets oxidized, especially oily and fatty foods gets oxidized and lead to unpleasant smell and taste. Prevention of corrosion involves oiling, greasing, galvanization, anodization, alloying and many others. Rancidity can be avoided by pickling, curing, freezing and using inert gases while packing like nitrogenous gases and many other ways to prevent rancidity. After this is what we learned in the first chapter. The second chapter, that is acids, bases and salts, we have learned a lot of it. So we learned about acids, their physical properties and their classifications. Bases, their physical property and classification. Indicators and its classification. Indicators are nothing but chemical substances that help us to distinguish between an acid and a base. Then we learnt about universal indicator, which measures the strength of an acid or a base based on pH scale, that is hydrogen ion concentration. We learnt about pH and its importance in everyday life. We learnt about chemical properties of acids and bases. We learnt about amphoteric oxides, the oxides of some of the metals like aluminium and zinc, which acts as both acids and bases. Then we learnt about salts, the common salt sodium chloride and its uses in the preparation of caustic soda, bleaching powder, baking soda and washing soda. We learned the preparation and uses of the above said chemicals. We learned the meaning of water of crystallization, the preparation and uses of plaster of Paris in this chapter.